This is the July 9th Salary Commission meeting. Present are Commissioners Jennifer Bragg and Graham Ross, Deputy City Clerk Gretchen Garrett, and myself, City Clerk. So we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Doesn't look like there's any members of the public here, and we no longer take online public comments. That is something that's fairly new. So the public is welcome to appear in person, or they can email comments to the city clerk. Inside the packet were the minutes from the March 9th, 2023 meeting. Did either of you have any comments or revisions?
No.
I had none.
Okay, so is there a motion to go ahead and approve those minutes?
No move.
Seconded.
Great. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it's approved. So new business, we do need to elect a new chair. Last year, Jennifer was chair. And so I don't know if you guys want to do the same as last year.
I'm willing to pass the baton.
Does it come with its own parking space? Sure.
Okay.
Can't wait, excited about it.
So you can assume the position immediately. I'll let you go ahead and take over the meeting.
Well, okay then. I shall do so.
Great.
So first I have a question for you. And in one of our communications emails, you suggested we read some document. I don't know if it was, I don't know what it was. And it just occurred to me as I was driving over here and trying to organize my thoughts. Was there something you suggested we read as a commission?
I had just provided you information about where you could find the current bargaining agreements for the Teamsters as well as fire. The police, they are in negotiations now. And so the current agreements are going to indicate what the 2025 COLAs will be for the Teamsters and the firefighters. So I didn't know if that would just be of interest to you, what those employee groups would be getting for next year.
And I don't know, would you also have been talking about the comparable data?
No, I've got all.
You got the comparables.
Yeah, so to follow that then, last year or last commission, we assigned a metric to the mayor and to the city council. And those metrics are consistent then with the current agreements. Is that correct?
So those aligned with the management and professional, the COLAs at the management and professional group, which is the non-represented. That's what, so they got what the MNP, that's what we call it. They got what they got. And so for 2023, that was a 3.5%. And then for 2024, that was a 6% COLA.
Okay.
So for Teamsters, for 2025, it's a range, and it's based on whatever the CPU ends up being. So it's not quite determined. It's anywhere between 1% and 3.5%. And for the firefighters, it's anywhere between 2% and 3.5%.
All right, well then my question then becomes, is there any reason we shouldn't just follow the management COLA?
I mean, certainly that is an option.
Yeah,
That's my thinking as well, Graham.
right. Is there any reason we shouldn't? Any change in the construction of it? Anything that's changed that we should be aware of before we say that is one of the options? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can think of that would, it is what the pleasure of the commission. You can decide, what you want to do.
Right.
Is what we did last year. It made it a little, it did streamline it and make it simple.
Yeah, I thought so. But what I'm trying to avoid, Dina, is buying into a metric or a COLA number that doesn't stand scrutiny now because somehow in a negotiation it got changed. So I don't want to overly complicate it, but you've answered my question. There is nothing in there. I don't need to go back and read that agreement.
Okay.
Because it hasn't changed in terms of the construction. correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, well then, I think, I took the good, did you do this work for us?
Yes,
I
thank you.
appreciate it, thank you very much. Last year it was many return phone calls.
Yes.
So what you did is helpful. And I took a look at that to see if there were any outliers or any different ways to look at it. And, somewhere in the neighborhood of a 400% raise we gave the mayor. And as I look at the new data, there are only 2 cities that pay their mayor more. And one has 7 times our population. And the other one, I didn't understand it last year or the year before. I don't understand it this year. Because it's 108,000 and they have less people than we do.
It's Edgewood.
Edgewood, yeah.
And the only, that's the only difference I can see
Yeah.
is full-time, but
Yeah.
I don't know, we decided we weren't gonna pay attention to FTE status, and I don't know what Catherine's actually is, she seems to be everywhere all the time.
Yeah,
So I kind of regarded Edgewood as irrelevant to our
Okay.
discussion, and actually, I thought the most interesting comparable was actually North Bend, which is half the size,
Yeah.
but explosive growth.
Yeah.
And they're now probably slightly below us, but she gets a per meeting, the mayor gets a per meeting type compensation as well. So it seems to me that North Bend, as far as complexity of the job, with the exception of the population, which is well below, but climbing very rapidly, I think North Bend is an excellent comparison for us.
okay, what conclusion would you draw from?
That we are pretty close on our compensation, especially with the COLA we're talking about with the management. Because I believe it was the 6% was factored in, that was where we ended up at 58.3 for 2020. What was 2022 was 58.
3.5%,
Yeah.
this year is 6%.
6%. So where does that come out? If you do that math, Dina?
So the 58.3 is what is this year's salary. So
That
that,
is 2024,
yeah, that's 2024.
really?
So 2025 then would be 106% of that?
Well, 2025 will be whatever percent you,
Okay, so you've already made that award, for lack of a better term.
yeah, I have to file,
6%.
yeah, I have to file that with the county each January, so that's already been calculated.
Okay. As to the dollars per meeting, as I recall last year, Jennifer, when we talked about that, and I think it was Dina that raised the issue, it was looked at one point and it was an accounting issue. It became sort of a problem. And
Not in my data bank. So,
Okay.
do you remember
do you remember
that?
anything about that, Dina?
It is a little bit difficult to kind of keep track of. I've worked somewhere where we had to calculate those meetings and do expense reimbursement reports every month. And so that would be like in addition to the regular salary, right? Because there's usually a bit of a lag. You're not going to get them at the same time as your regular salary. So it was a little more, it's doable. It's just, makes it a little bit more complicated.
Okay, then,
Were you trying to get closer to North Bend? Is that?
yeah,
as
no,
far as that goes?
I mean, just thinking out loud with you, I don't see any reason why our mayor should attend meetings and not be compensated, unless the finance department sends up a big red flare and everyone quits. My attitude is they just need to do it.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
Say it again.
Do what the North Bend, use the North Bend language in terms of meetings and the per diems for our mayor and for our city council.
So starting at this level we are now.
Can I put the light on? I can't read any of
Okay.
this. I lost right there. That it?
Yeah, there's a couple switches.
Which one there you go. Yes, thank you.
And what I can do also is take a look at the mayor's calendar and see how many meetings she is attending.
Good
That's a
idea.
very good idea.
Okay, and then the same thing for, you know, the order of magnitude, if you will, of the a city council. You know, regional meetings, local meetings, et cetera, et cetera. Could we do both of those?
I can, yes.
Okay, and then, talk to the finance people, and make sure it's not a huge problem.
Yeah, I can ask them, yes.
Okay,
So you're thinking of that in lieu of any level, any change in compensation? Like staying
Yes.
at the, where we are now?
yes.
Yeah, a couple of other interesting,
How do you feel about
I don't have any objection to that. I would like to hear the numbers. I like how many meetings there are.
it? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm back to the mayor's salary.
Oh, it's
Are you
15 grand.
okay with her
Well,
current salary?
I am for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
One is that, if you look at comparable cities population wise. And then you look at the median income. If you take those factors into consideration. You know, I think it's hit a sweet spot where it is right now, because the comparable populations are Gig Harbor and Lake Forest, and there's substantially lower compensation from both of those
Right,
cities. But I think that is accounted for by the fact that the median income and the property values here are so high. But another interesting factor was the poverty rate. If you look at, Snoqualmie's poverty rate is 7.5%, and everybody else is up at 6 and 8%. Well, I don't know what impact that has on the mayor's job, but, it really stood out, the difference between Snoqualmie and other
right, I recall
municipalities.
that.
So if we were going to talk about a per meeting increase, then I think we might want to hold at the salary and the annual bump for equivalent to what the municipal union gets, municipal group gets.
Management.
The management group. So I think I'd rather hold on this question of the increasing the base until we have a read on the number of minutes and so forth, so that we see where it comes out.
I agree with you completely, and I looked at the numbers a little differently on a per citizen, because you could make an argument that when we're talking about a lot more people, then maybe you have more responsibility. I'd add to that, again, we have our own police department, our own fire department. That's complex.
Yeah.
So I could, if you were of a mind, I would not mind at all raising your salary, but I think it was such a big number last year, brought her in line.
Yeah.
And if we do some of this catch up with in terms of meetings, the mayor's salary per citizen, per population, ranged from a low of $1.10 in Bonnie Lake, $1.10 per citizen, up to $8.14 in Edgewood, and we're at $4.33. And our friends in North Bend they're paying $5.80 per citizen. So I think that supports where we are. We could go a little further up, but I think in lieu of what we've done, and if we add in some coverage on the meetings, I think that's all fair.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. So I think this is one meeting, and we just can communicate. Dina, once you get report back on in terms of the issues surrounding meetings and compensation.
Okay,
We good with that? Is there anything else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay,
About the changes that were made last year. Let's see. Where is that? Sorry. Yes, here it is. There were changes that were supposed to be made in the code after our last meeting. And I wonder if that was done.
Yeah, so they don't codify this. I think that they can actually check the recent code. I mean, I haven't checked it recently. I did send them the decision.
Well, I think the code, we were thinking, the code change had to do with the participation in health insurance, perhaps.
Yeah, let me get to the
There
code.
was something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might have had to do with changing the mayor, or separating the mayor from the city council. In terms of participation in health insurance plans.
Yeah, they did add that paragraph 2.36.060, mayor eligible for city health insurance plan.
Okay. Okay,
So we're in compliance from whatever the last commission's rulings were. Correct?
So yeah, the code has been updated, even with her 2023 salary, but of course, at the time that it was updated with the 2022 decision, we didn't know the 2024 salary. So that is just something that, you know, we would have that information if say members of the public were looking for that. But they did take our decision and update it, so that's good. Do
that was,
you want me to share screen?
I don't. think
No.
No.
Okay.
I would think, and one other issue is, for the next go round, it seems to me that CAMAS, is that how you say it? CAMAS, it's this
Camus.
CAMAS. It seems to me that that's irrelevant. I mean, it's down on the Columbia River and tiny little place, and it's a different county. I forget what
Yes.
county. But I wonder why we're bothering, how that would be considered a comparable. So it seems to save us a little time to eliminate that one
Okay.
Sure.
next time around.
Yeah, Thomas, right?
Yeah, CAMAS.
Yeah.
Although it is amazing, property values down there. What do I see for the property values in CAMAS? It's in Clark County. And I think the property values are starting to approach Boone County, which surprised me given its location. So
Yeah.
anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, is that all you have then? I have nothing more. I move to close the salary commission, Snoqualmie Salary Commission meeting of July 9th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Ayes, aye,
Oh, aye.
adopted, meeting closed.
Okay, should we set up another meeting, or do you want me just to get this information and then report back to you, and then we can talk about another meeting?
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a tentative date, so we know when
Well,
we might be available.
There's just two of us and we communicate well. I don't see the reason for a meeting. I would say, let's just get on the phone with Nina, the three of us. And if there seems to be any issues, then we can schedule a meeting because we've got plenty of time, don't we?
So that would be quorum. That would be a meeting, a phone call.
Yeah, that would be a meeting. Okay.
So what I could do is I will look at the mayor's calendar, reach out to the council members, see how many meetings they attend, because I usually don't know about those. I'll get those numbers to you. I'll talk to finance about the possibility of doing paying per meeting in addition to a base salary. So I'll do that research and I'll report back to you in an email. And then we can decide if, because we will have to do one more meeting to, vote on the decision.
You're the boss.
Okay, so at this point, we'll just say to be determined.
Yes, TBD.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So where have you been interested? Anywhere?